So another video, just to rub it in the face of people like Markanthony and all those others who say, oh, just make your own website, and doesn't understand how the capitalist market system works, and that the only way for you to have something in the first place is for you to inherit it from another great fortune, and then from there, you just eat up more and more of the competition until you are the only hegemony left. And that is how the internet has become. You know, the internet wasn't always like that. The internet in its infancy, as I'm old enough to remember the internet back in the early 90s, when, there was small websites everywhere, but because of the free market, eventually it became more and more, centered, and now it's just Twitter, Facebook, 4chan, Google, etc. I've written down some of the stats I looked up. You can look them up yourself. Just search for website value and put in any URL, and you will find out just how much that site is worth. Here's just a few examples. YouTube alone is worth $736.21 million. Think about that for a second. They are worth almost $1 billion in and of themselves. YouTube. Just YouTube. That's not counting all the other moderators out there. Just YouTube is worth almost $1 billion fucking dollars. And you're going to tell me that by just making my own website, that's going to solve everything. That's going to solve the problem that is moderators. When there's $1 billion institution, it's putting their boot on my fucking neck, putting a boot on your fucking neck. And just this guy, who probably doesn't even have $1, is going to make a website and be able to somehow undo this damage. Now, who owns YouTube? Google. How much is Google worth? $1.2 billion. That means that Google is worth almost double of what YouTube is, and because Google owns YouTube, it's safe to assume that you can combine their assets and consider them as one. So that makes Google and YouTube worth about $3 billion. Give or take the fact that there's also Google Plus and all this other shit in between that they own vicariously. Sometimes a lot of underhanded internet businesses, such as black hat viruses that infect your computer for spyware and things like that. Yeah, they pay people to do that, and they make money doing that. And that makes them a lot of money. So, I know I'm kind of repeating myself here, but are you starting to see now the severity of this? They are worth over $3 billion fucking dollars. How, I just think you're stubborn and you don't want to see the truth. You're never going to see the truth. Google could point a fucking gun to your head. You don't care. You'll just laugh it off and they'll shoot you, just like in 1984. So, Facebook is worth $2.41 billion. Yes, that means Facebook is akin to Google, and Facebook's only been around for, I guess, 6-7 years, and, they already are multi-billionaires. So, no, I can't just make my own social network. I'm not going to be able to, in any way, come in conflict with a $2.41 billion industry. Your only argument here is if you don't like getting banned, make your own website. Well, what the fuck does that even mean? So what? I make my own website that nobody goes to. So I have freedom of speech as long as nobody's listening to me. I have the right to participate and socialize and be around people as long as there's nobody around and nobody to participate with. Yeah, if I just go crawl in a hole and fucking die, I suppose I'm free in the sense I'm not getting fucked all the time, getting threatened and banned and pushed around and terrorized, but that's not being free. That's hiding away. That's simply being out of the vicinity of the wrath incurred by moderators. What the fuck is wrong with you? Do you really believe this? Are you really that sadistic and stupid? Because if so, kill yourself, please. And then there's 4chan. Ironically, the poorest of these institutions. We all know 4chan. Everybody knows fucking 4chan. And they're worth $2 million. Though a little over $2 million, but not too much over. So, that's what I'm saying here. Even the poorest of the websites are multi-millionaires. And on average, the big websites that can and regularly do ban you are multi-billionaires. Now, far and wide, not every website is worth that. Like Richard the Rapist Buller, well, he's now worth a good million because of this stupid ass ban. But when most of these little websites don't start little Kickstarter scams and shit that are pyramid schemes, I would say they rake in a few $100s, maybe even a few grand. And while that's not as threatening or as ominous as a multi-million-dollar website or multi-billion-dollar website, the fact is they're still making a good amount of money. They're the bourgeois. And it's proven in the fact of what they do with that money. You know, they have all this money, all these assets, all this control of the means of production, and how do they use it? To enforce their rules, their terms of service, rather than, you know, creating a nice product that benefits humanity and progresses us forward. You know, they're not making these websites to actually make anything that could benefit us, make anything to share this product with us so that we can all have a more fulfilling and rich life. They're doing it because it's all about fucking them. It's all about their institution, and you're going to abide by it or else. So I don't want to fucking hear about how Jim Profit is threatening me, or Jim Profit says crazy things, or Jim Profit says violent, hateful things, or whatever. Because Jim Profit doesn't have money. And even if Jim Profit did have money, Jim Profit would not use that money to enforce these arbitrary, tyrannical rules upon you. Jim Profit is not the one banning you. Jim Profit is not the one censoring you. Jim Profit is not the one trying to take control of the entirety of the internet. But Google and Facebook are, and to a smaller extent 4chan is, and things like that. They're the ones enforcing the rules. They're the ones censoring you. They're the ones that create these domestic terrorist groups such as Anonymous. They're the ones spying on all your personal information. They're the ones that commit white-collar crimes, yet get away with it. But somehow Jim Profit's the villain, even though Jim Profit doesn't have any money. And in fact, you know, when Jim Profit tried to be a YouTube partner, they fucked him over pretty badly. So, where's the logistics? At what point in your crazy, fucked up, hillbilly mind does it make sense that Jim Profit is the problem? Because I guarantee you, if Jim Profit was not in the picture, things would still be exactly the same. The only difference between Jim Profit being in this reality and not being in this reality is the fact that by Jim Profit being in it, we might move just a little bit closer to liberation. So we don't get all these rules enforced upon us. So we don't get terrorized by these bourgeois institutions. So, not only are you wrong, that's just the least of it. You are completely on the side of evil. You make apologies for evil. You completely worship and grotesquely just in amazement glorify evil. And why? What is it in your mind that makes you believe, that possesses you to think that these are okay to have? That's the way the world is just fine and dandy. I don't even know how to fucking word this, because it's so crazy, it's so demented, that you would make excuse after excuse after excuse for multi-billionaire institutions that not only take advantage of you, while you, yes, you, Markanthony, have to go to work and bust your ass every day, but your information is compromised, your individuality is compromised, your freedoms are compromised, you don't get to do fucking anything because these websites dictate what you can do, and yet you're going to busy yourself worrying about Jim Profit. I'm the thing that angers you. I'm the thing that you feel like is the dictator, and you're always pointing out the flaws of communism and how evil and despicable it is, and how he smokes. Oh my god, who the fuck cares? There are multi-billion-dollar demons out for your very life at this moment, and they're getting away with it. That's what I'm fucking talking about here. Not about getting banned from a goddamn Call of Duty server.